Let's do it. Gentlemen, how are we? Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, welcome to the Leg Up Australia podcast.
Can he do it? The gloves are off. They go toe to toe, blow for blow. He's clear. His big heart pounding. Yes! It's 3 to Twice makes it 3 in a row. That is unbelievable.
That should absolutely fire you up as all eyes look to Flemington this Tuesday. We embark on Australia's biggest race. To dissect the race that stops the nation, I'm joined by Nick Lloyd, Blake Johnston, Pat Allendorf. Gentlemen, welcome. Less than 48 hours out from the big race. Paddy, you've been kicked outside. Where's the excitement levels at right now for you?
I can absolutely feel the excitement, mate. I'm just oozing it. It's emanating out of It's coming out of me. I just love this time of year.
I was going to tell you to go to a doctor.
Yeah, that's what my wife said that. I think my wife said it could be a heart attack. But, mate, we do everything. Melbourne Cup time of the year, we close the shop. We treat it like a public holiday for our family, so it's a massive time of the year. Nickos, what do you do up there?
Yeah, mate. Well, a bit of a change. I got to work this year, so I'm looking forward to it, actually. We get to kick back, take the suit off, because it's bloody hot up in Queensland at the moment. So, but that's it, mate. Christmas time for us punters, Derby Day. If that wasn't enough to get the blood boiling a little bit, hopefully we can get
definitely boiling.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a bit back on Tuesday in the big one.
And you, just for listeners as well and watchers mainly, we actually had to get Nick to turn his fan off, so he's eventually going to sweat through that that tan ensemble he's wearing.
By realm of flowers, he'll be by 24
saturated.
Yeah.
BJ, how are you, mate? You're busy away. You're working round the clock at the moment. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm excited. I've heard a few people saying that it's not a great race this year, but it doesn't matter who's in it. It's always the best race of the year. It's always the race that I wake up and I'm super excited about. Like, Melbourne Cup Day is just different. It's different gravy.
Yeah.
It's the best race of the year. It's Australia's greatest race. I have no doubt about that. And I'm excited. Nick and I are going over to your house, Woodhead. You're going to get us some prawns and some.
We're going to get some seafood. Is there anything you don't eat, Nick? Any seafood you don't eat?
Oh, look, we can give it all a whirl, can't we?
Yeah, we'll go a bit of oysters.
Just get a couple of half lobsters.
Imagine the three of us after a dozen oysters in the guts. Oh, look out. Put your shirt back on, Blake. We're trying to watch the race.
Call HR.
I have to. Well, I am HR, so send all requests and complaints to me. Straight away in the comments, we've got a couple of the legends in here. DJC's in there, Matty Holmes is in there, Heckers is in there. And I tell you now, something has absolutely filled the comments. Pat, have you been working out? Is that Pat or is that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? That is a very tight... He's moved away from the TLU merch and he's gone the tightest shirt he has. Go on, give us a flex. Go on, show us a couple of the pumpkins.
It's a filter.
Oh, yeah, he's looking good. Patty
the pumpkin
boy.
Filter. Mate, do you know what? I'm like Nick. I just turned the fan off and I'm sweating it up in the room. It's like a big sauna session.
You do look good, I've got to say, you do look like you've done a few push-ups prior to the show.
I was doing star jumps and everything, Blake. You should have seen me. That was just me and Woodhead webcamming each other.
We were webcanning each other. Matthew Holmes says, rumour has it you've been kicked out of the house because you're drinking rosé, Pat. Is that the drink of choice this evening?
Oh, no, I got golds. The rosé was just for before. And I had a little number on myself yesterday, so I'm definitely not drinking red wine.
Correct. You and I were betting well into the early hours of this morning.
Oh, I couldn't believe Blake was still sending through mail at Cannington at
Cannington Dog Tips.
12:55. Tomorrow's
strategy. We've got to get on that one.
Early mail.
Why not?
Oh, very good. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Brad Small, good to see you again, mate. Matty Holmes, tips and a gun show. Absolutely. We're offering everything here. So throw who you think wins the Melbourne Cup in the comments. We are going to choose, if you get it right, we're going to choose three of you guys at random to get a Tell You merch pack. We're going to go through a runner-by-runner analysis. Now, we have had this so highly requested because, Pat, basically, after your runner-by-runner Everest analysis, we had multiple messages asking for you to do one for the Melbourne Cup. And punters, keep in mind, this is a bit tongue-in-cheek and should be looked at as, just Pat's thoughts and Pat's analysis and an enjoyable take on the race. We had a lot of people commenting, asking what you were on, where your head was at with Everest, but you were right. You know, you had it right. Nature Strip can't win.
If you're not asking where my head's at, then there's a problem with me. I'm not pushing you far enough.
You should just know. You should know.
That's when you know something's wrong. If I'm not saying something outrageous, you know something's wrong.
I thought that preview was pretty good. I thought it was like
Talladega
Nights. Like, if you're not first, you're last. Because Pat's
which is everyone.
were either completely correct or they were completely off.
Oh, what about on the weekend, though? I had a dream that Marzu won, and so that's good enough form for me.
You went on the quaddie and you said, Marzu for me, because I dreamt it. I'm like, okay, well, that's what we're doing now, is it?
Private Eye is literally just doing that to spoil me. I did tip him to run last.
You can see in the description of this show everything that we plug. So this will be turned into a podcast, so you can just have it in your ears while you're working tomorrow. Get on board with members only. We've got a great Cup Week special merch. If you want to get involved with the sponsors of the show, make sure you head to the link and join up with... Oh, wrong one. Sorry, fat fingers. We can't do shows this late on a Sunday night. I had to really watch my standard drinks today. So yeah, as I said, our show is brought to you by the good folk over at BoomBet. And if you want to support the show, get on board with them and get on board with members only. Let's just rip straight into this race because we want to kind of keep it short and tight and ready to go. It's 2 o'clock here in Queensland on Tuesday, 3 o'clock in the southern states. Race 7 at Flemington, 3,200 metres. It is the Lexus Melbourne Cup. I'm going to start by runner number. I'm going to say the horse, the jockey, the barrier, the price it's currently at with BoomBet, and I want Pat, you to start, Nick to come in, and Blake, if you've got anything to add, I want you to do the same. And we kick it off with Gold Trip. Coming out of barrier 14, Mark Zara on board, currently $13.60 with BoomBet. Paddy, what straight off the bat, Gold Trip, got a big one for you. Swing for the bleachers, mate. What are you liking about Gold Trip?
Yeah, look, guys, he's been costly for the punters, but what we can do now is just concentrate on the race coming up, and the Melbourne Cup looks like the race that it's been set for.
Grand final for Gold Trip.
Turnbull into Caulfield Cup, into Cox Plate, into Melbourne Cup. Absolutely rip up prep. I think this guy presents at a time of his preparation absolutely perfectly. His run in the Caulfield Cup was unbelievable. 3 wide the trip, got to the lead, got nutted by Durston on the line. It had no weight on its back. Perfect run. We can forgive that. Goes into the Cox Plate with Jamie Spencer on it. An absolute slug of a ride. I think it could have finished a lot closer. But what we found from that is that it has the turn of foot in the wet. And I feel like that is something that every Melbourne Cup winner needs. Some turn of foot. And it's got to be able to handle the wet track for this weekend. Massive, massive chance. Nickos?
Yep. Yeah, I agree completely, mate. He's had the 10,000 metres of runs under his legs as well, this prep, which was old Bart Cummings' sort of thought process. I loved his run in the Caulfield Cup. He was stiff in the Cox Plate, and like you said, that wet track form, the blinkers come back off. I think he's one of the main players. BJ?
Isn't the Mark Zara?
No more to add. I just hope you blokes are right because I got a few nice little futures tickets on him. Yeah,
going back to Mark Zara, Blakey, I reckon that's a massive positive for the horse too.
Yeah, 100%. Mark rode him as well as he could in the Caulfield Cup, and he'll give him a peach on Tuesday.
I have to say, I thought I'd see a few more fans of Gold Trip in the comments. We've had a few that said it. Heckers has come out and said he's liking Gold Trip with Juarez, and that's about it. I kind of thought it was a much more popular selection, but we will go through. In fact, the other one that Heckers has just mentioned in the comments, into Juarez, Huey Bowman on board, currently $25, coming out of barrier 10. Has it got a hope, Pat?
It's weighted up to its runs in the Tancred and the Australia Cup when it was absolutely flying. Goes into this with 55.5. It's got to be going better to feature. I'm happy to leave it out. Nick?
She was the first bet I had in the race back in March, so I've been riding a decent ticket, even though it's longer priced now than what it was 6 months ago. But look, her best is good enough. Like Pat said, the weight's got to be a query because she's weighted like she's already won a Melbourne Cup almost with that 55.5. But I like the booking of Hugh Bowman. I like barrier 10, and I don't actually think her runs this prep have been that bad. With the one race in mind, which is obviously on Tuesday. So, look, she's a top 5 or 6 player for me, but the wet track's going to be a big question mark for her.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think she's going as well as she has in the past, and I think the wet track is a big question mark.
We move on to Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott's first runner in this year's edition. Knight's Order, Tim Clark on board, barrier 24, $20.50. Is this a live prospect, Pat?
Gather around, guys. I'll tell you all the Sydney Cup winners that have won the Melbourne Cup in the last 17 years.
Okay.
None. 18 years ago, we had Makybe Diva do it. Before Makybe Diva, guys, anything. Do we know who else did it?
There's
the great. Don't worry, you don't know. The Great Carbine, 1890. It was probably a little bit before our time, but they just don't do it. I know this horse is tough, and it'll lead. And you know what? If you want a ticket that's going to keep you in the race for a long time, back this horse. I think it probably can be a top 6 player, but the statistics say that it's not the one. Nick?
Yeah, no, not for me. 51.5 kilos in the Sydney Cup. It's got to carry an extra 4 kilos and meets better opposition. Can't have him.
Yep, definitely top 4 for me. I think that I think he's ready to peak. This is grand final day. He went too slow in the Turnbull and he went too slow in the Caulfield Cup. He was fighting back on the line in that Caulfield Cup. He will go very fast in this race, as he did in that Sydney Cup. I reckon he peaks, and I reckon he's going to be very hard to catch. Gets track conditions to suit too.
Yeah. Guys, you remember those good horses like Carbine, Makybe Diva, and Knight's Order? It doesn't ring. It just doesn't slip off the tongue.
It holds.
He's a good horse. He
is a very good horse.
He's getting better with age. He's a
tough.
very good horse. If he brings that number that he produced on Sydney Cup Day, he's right in the finish.
You get a pro rata amount for the time that it leads, for the time that it's in number 1 position, then it'd be a great ticket, I'd say.
It adds to the end margin. That'd be very nice if someone
first past the post the first time around.
It will be too, because it's coming from the outside barrier.
Yeah.
They'll be tearing on it.
It'll be
hammering
handlebars down.
Yeah.
Suits him perfectly.
I'm very interested in the next runner, Montefilia, Jason Collett on board, barrier 11, $10.60. Pat, is this a plausible bet for punters out there that are looking for maybe a more well-known horse to local punters, Montefilia?
Got a great story about this horse for you. I heard that there was another betting company out there doing that 100-to-1 thing, and I heard it was closing. So I wanted to be on the horse that was tearing home in the Caulfield Cup, and I thought it was Vow Declare. But it was actually Montefilia. Very similar colours, those two.
Yeah.
The only problem with this horse is I don't know that it switches itself on all the time. That loss to Cascadian the other week on the wet track, where it just loomed up on the turn and looked like it was going to go straight past, and it ended up getting beat by Cascadian, Numerian. Then it comes out in the Caulfield Cup, and everyone can say that it got into trouble, but it went looking for trouble, and it got itself into trouble.
Yeah, it was its own interference.
I've got to have it there in the top 3, but I'm saying I hope the Montefilia superstar that I think is there turns up, as opposed to the horse that goes and finds trouble. Nick?
Yeah, I thought it was, she should have won the Caulfield Cup, in all honesty. The ride, I really don't think it was a good ride at all. Collett's, I think he's 3 from his last 50, so a few queries there. And the 2 miles got to be a query for her, but she was good in the Caulfield Cup. She's the top, Aussie, one of the top Aussie mares, but yeah, again, I've just got to have a few queries what her best work will be like late.
Yeah, I'd be forgiving her that second up run. She came up a very slow race first up into a very fast race second up, and then she improved into the Caulfield Cup. Best last 200 metres of the day. Her best form is over 2,000 metres, so I would be risking her over the 3,200 metres.
Yep. Okay. Me personally, I'm very interested to know about this horse, because this would be my value bet for the day. Numerian. lots and lots of value. Tommy Berry, Annabelle Neesham, we know all the story. We love Annabelle here on the show. Coming out of barrier 7, currently $65 Pat, come on, give me something. I'm holding a good ticket on it.
Mate,
I could get a good ticket now at 65-1.
It's funny that you've backed it because this horse is very similar to you. It's solid, it's honest, performs.
Yep.
But I just don't think it's at the top, bro. Like it's you're going to get a nice, solid, honest race, and if they were still doing superfectors, you'd throw it into that. But I don't see it up there with the top horses in this race. It's run in the Hill Stakes ahead of Montefiore was good, chasing Cascadian. It's run in the Caulfield Cup, probably got the run of the race, and I reckon could have finished a bit closer. But I reckon that might be about where it's at. Just an honest run. I can't see it winning, but it'll be in the top half of the field, I would say.
It was a great run, the Caulfield Cup, and if we have a wet track, Pat, are you under the flight path there? Is that you? That's probably the jet landing. The 10:03 Brisbane Sydney, just flying over. Give me some good news, Nick. Am I holding a good ticket with Numerian or no?
Look, he's been one of mine for a while. I backed him the day he won the Q22 up here at Eagle Farm on Stradbroke Day, and it was just a really good, tough on-pace victory. He was good first up on the heavy, again good behind Cascadian, who we know is absolutely airborne, and I was on him in the Caulfield Cup, and I thought, it was a good run. I have a little bit of a question mark around whether or not he'll stay the 3,200, but like Pat said, you're going to get a good run from him. He's going to be in the right part of the track. I think he gets a good run from Barrier 7. Trust the stable, and I agree that the $65 seems massive overs when you've got Knight's Order around $20, and they went along. They hit the line together in that Caulfield Cup. Yes, Knight's Order probably better suited at 2 miles, but over the odds, I think.
BJ, anything
I don't think he can win. I don't think he
Thanks.
can fall back to beat him.
Anything to do with form? No, just your ticket.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Tear it up. Without a fight, which has actually come up a lot in the comments here, William Buick, barrier 18, $10.60. Will there be a bit of fight with this horse?
Well, I got to say, Woodhead, I get a little bit filthy on these overseas runners because I've got to go down that many rabbit holes to find this start and that start.
YouTube and Twitter and you're everywhere,
and some
aren't
have
you?
half the race, and I've got to watch 2 ads about Irish cars, and it just... sometimes it just...
Limerick Motors will sort you out.
I get sometimes too, it's someone recording it off a computer and they're talking in the background.
I know that channel. I think I know that channel. He's an Aussie bloke and he goes through it, and shout out to him, wherever he is.
So yeah, I'm thinking barrier 18, overseas jockey. This horse will stay all day. It will have to stay all day. Overseas jockey, barrier 18. It could end up wide. So I don't think it has the turn of foot. It has the slog in it to be competitive, but I don't think it has the turn of foot to win a cup. The trainers had. So if you were thinking that the trainers bought one here sneakily and he's trying to get this Group 1 because he's, got this great horse, he's tried this 14 times in Southern Hemisphere Group 1s and hasn't had a single result. So this is try 15 for him. I'm happy to leave it out.
Never really kind of performed on a wet track as well, which I think that's what we're expecting. Nick, what do you think about Without a Fight?
I've got him in my, first 5 or 6 as well, mate. I like the form that he brings. He's sort of carried a lot of weight over there. He's been carrying the 62 kilos, 57, and he gets in nicely with 55.5, being a 6-year-old gelding. And that last start there, he had at Newmarket in the listed Godolphin Stakes. It was behind a horse called Siskany, who has beaten Surefire, who we saw win the Lexus yesterday and had some pretty top form throughout the carnival. So it sort of ties in a little bit with that Aussie form that we know, and I think he'll get a chance. But Barrier 18, interestingly, had never produced a Melbourne Cup winner in the 160 years. Very Elegant was drawn Barrier 19 last year, but with the scratching of one horse, she came in and jumped from 18. So there's never been a Barrier 18 winner in a 24-horse field.
There you go.
Yep, love that stat. I love stats.
I hope BJ had that stat loaded and you've just stolen it.
He told me about that on Saturday. Rules are made to be broken. So
You have to talk up over the plane, BJ.
I think this horse can win. I think he's equal to the best international. Those 2 wins over 2,800 metres were very strong. And then last start he was 11 weeks between runs. He went out the back, he had the massive weight, and he hit the line really nicely. I think he's going to eat up 3,200 metres. He hasn't had any exposure to soft form other than early days, and I think it was in his first campaign that he actually produced his peak performance to date, which was on a soft track. So I think that he's going to handle the track. I think he is going to be very strong late, and I think he's one of the better chances.
We move on to Camorra. Ben Melham's ride coming out of Barrier 17, currently $49 with Boom Bet. Pat, is Camorra something, it wouldn't be anything, it's a hard one to like on form. Have you got it in your numbers?
I've told you this before, Woodhead. One thing I am not here to do is waste anyone's time, and this horse doesn't like wet tracks, and it doesn't look up to this. Pass.
Nick.
Yeah, Pat would have been at home in the Irish St. Ledger with me on his back last start. He was absolutely legless. He'll have to be handy in the run from Barrier 17, but he's got no hope.
Not for me.
Camorra, we move on straight to the favourite, Deauville Legend. K-Mac on board, Barrier 9, $3.45 with the... let me just have a quick look while we've got dynamic odds open. Who's offering the best price? Because there's still a lot of people that are liking Deauville Legend. Where are we? Boom's up there. There are better prices out there. But Pat, where do you see? What's the prospect looking for the current fave, long-time current fave for this year's Melbourne Cup, Deauville Legend?
There's some crook people out there, and there'd be none crooker than anyone trying to tell you that you should be launching into this horse at $3.40 in a Melbourne Cup. If you have friends
rubbishing the favourite, I don't know what those odds are going to be.
If you have friends out there that are telling you to launch into this at $3.40, then do you know what? Start clearing some space on your phone, because that is unders. Admittedly, I didn't get the 10 to 1,010 bet on with another betting institution out there, but I can entertain this horse for sure. It's got to come here and do it the hard way, though. It doesn't get the rekindling and cross-counter weight of 51 kilos to go into the Melbourne Cup this time, so it's got to do it the hard way, and you are taking poison odds. I am happy to leave it out for the simple fact as well. It's untested on the wet, and it also hasn't run the distance. So, with the price it is, if I have a trifecta, I'll throw it in. I'm happy to leave it out for the win.
So that's a no-ville from Pat. Nick?
He's certainly got the right form to win the race, I think. I agree that the $3.45 is massive unders now. Unfortunately, we lost Loft and Durston and a few others throughout the last couple of weeks and months. But look, he does have the right form. He's got to carry the 55 kilos, which, Tiger Moth 2 years ago, he was off the map on race day and he only carried the 52.5 and ran second to Twilight Payment. So he was a 4-year-old or a Northern Hemisphere 3-year-old, same as Deauville Legend. So that's a concern for me. But and the way that he tends to lug in and lay out, that's got to be a little bit of a worry as well, especially if he hits the front early, which he could with a few walkers in front of him. But look, he's the one to beat, but I can't be backing him now if you haven't got the 100 to 1 ticket or any of the other odds that you've got, for the last 6 months kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's the one to beat. I agree with Nick. He's on an upward trajectory. He's won over 2,600 metres. I don't think the distance is too much of a concern, but I agree with Pat. The $3.80 is poison odds. I think he'll start with a 5 or 6 in front of him. So if you want to back him, just wait until Tuesday.
Yeah, and be careful of those friends, guys, because they're the same people that tip Creadiris and Kementari, Avilius. They're out there. You've got to be careful.
Hey, you had a ticket on Kementari in the
I cried. I was crying my eyes out with that.
It was a hard bet for you to have, wasn't it?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough.
Very interesting run of the next one. Stockman, Joseph Pride and Samuel Clipperton. Barrier 2, $28 with the boom bet. Paddy, you're giving Stockman a chance.
Geez, he ran a nice race on Saturday. I've got to tell you, it was a very, very nice race, but he has no hope in this. Knight sort of flogged him in that Sydney Cup. I just can't see him.
Can't be a total write-off with the
can't
the wet weather form that it has.
They don't come out of nowhere and win a Melbourne Cup. And this horse, to win this cup, would have to come out of nowhere. So happy to leave it out.
Yeah, he's not one of my 17,000 bets in the race, but in saying that, like I do think he can run a bit of a race. He's obviously brings Queensland form. He won a Caloundra Cup a couple of years ago. He's a $1.40 favourite, and he's been flying this prep. So if he runs a big race and finishes in the first 5 or 6, doesn't shock me, but not in my numbers.
Yeah, I think he'll win. I think he'll win the Cup.
Here we go.
Oh,
This is what we've been waiting for. 9 horses in. We've got a call. Stockman. I like it, BJ. Tell us why.
I think he'll win the Cup. It wasn't suited in the Metrop. That was a very slowly run Metropolitan, and then he came out in a very fast race, 2 back, and he was a mile too good in that St. Ledger. Last start, 2,000 metres, they just flopped him out the back, and he found the line really nicely. So Saturday into a Tuesday Melbourne Cup, that St. Ledger, that was an outstanding win, and that was his career best. So he is on an upward trajectory this preparation. So we haven't found his ceiling yet. I'd be forgiving of his effort in the Sydney Cup. I wouldn't say that means that he didn't run 3,200 metres. Previously to that, he ran second at Weight for Age to Jewis at Randwick. So, geez, I think he's going to be really hard to beat.
Oh, I'm liking this. I like Stockman too, Beach. I'm so glad that you're liking this. I tell you what,
it's just been the perfect preparation, Sam.
Yeah,
perfect preparation. Everything has gone absolutely to plan. And
if it wins the Melbourne Cup, the Rosehill Gold Cup field next year will be astronomical.
There'll be 24 horses in
it. It'll be something.
The last horse that's had a lead-up run in Sydney on Saturday and then backed up in the Melbourne Cup on the Tuesday.
I think that Joe Pride, though, he was cautious of the float fees. It was just cheaper to run.
It's easier.
Makes sense.
Actually, had Luke Hilton has just been hammering us in the comments. Stockman, perfect setup race Saturday, travel all the way to Melbourne and race Tuesday. Okay.
Well, hang on. Luke Hilton also went to Goulburn today and drank a 1 litre chocolate milk on the way there. Who has that sort of courage, the confidence?
He wants to know why you're at a casino, Pat. I think he thinks the lights are at the casino.
Just ducked out of the pokey area. I put the coaster into the thingo, so it's still playing.
Reserve thing out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the first live chance, BJ with Stockman. I love it. Well done.
I like it, Blake. 30-1.
That's it.
Yeah, if he produces the number that he did in that St. Ledger, it has him right in the money. Like, it has him in the top 3 figures in the race.
I love it. It's good for the West. It's good for Rosehill. It's good for the Rosehill Gold Cup. I love it. Everything out the West. Western Sydney. From the West.
All right.
I genuinely think he has a winning chance.
Let's go, boys. I know no gang symbols.
Stop throwing gang symbols up on the live video.
Oh, they're my wings. They're my wings.
No, I'm with you. And it's starting to leak out that price as well. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Be just on that, as you do like this horse, and I'll ask you, with a lot of these horses, if you're thinking about having the bet now, do you think you'll start to see these drift out a little bit more coming towards the lead up to the Cup? Because obviously a lot of maybe once a year punters are kind of diving into those top kind of 4 or 5 horses in the market. If you're liking a horse, say like Stockman, and you're seeing $28 odds, should you just snap it up now, or do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't think he can start that price, because he's going to get a lot of the public's money regardless, because a lot of people just lob into the field on Tuesday and they back the horses that they know, and everybody's seeing him go around each and every week. And
that makes a lot of sense.
He's a likeable horse. People know that he's a good wet tracker. So, and I do think the pros are going to find him. I think that I really do like getting onto a heavy track, 7-day backup. There's plenty to like. Career peak 2 back, and then he just had a tick over run last start. I think there's plenty to like about him.
Oh, we'll take that. Take that every day. Sorry, Paddy. Let's move on to Vow and Declare. Blake Shin's ride for Danny O'Brien coming out of barrier 4, $21. What is this a feasible bet at 21-1? Vow and Declare.
I got to say the riding ranks are that solid at the moment. That Craig Williams is off this horse and Blake Shin is on. I don't know if Craig ran last start, but last time it won a Melbourne Cup, it had Craig on it, and now it gets Blake Shin on. Like, how low are these planes flying here? They must just want to listen. They're trying to listen into this podcast for the Melbourne Cup tips, for sure.
Waiting for your tip.
Waiting for it.
That's it. Stockman's just gone 31 to 23.
Has it?
Oh, straight away.
The pilots, the pilots.
Yeah.
Oh, he's radiated in. So I've got this horse going better than it was when it won the Melbourne Cup in 2019. It had 52 kilos on that occasion. It came out in 2020 with 57 on. Its form going into the race in 2020 was absolutely dog shit. It's going much better now. I think this time with the 54, its form presents great. It was a great run in the Caulfield Cup, and it's in my top 3, Vow&Declare.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit there, Paddy. I reckon he's going not as good as what he was when he won the Cup, and the only reason I say that is you look at that Caulfield Cup run where he came second to Murder Glass, and Murder Glass started, it might have been $6 or $7 in the Melbourne Cup favourite, obviously, and I just thought, I know he was wide without cover for a lot of that Caulfield Cup run, but I don't know if the horses that finished in front of him and around him were as good as the opposition he faced that year. He probably should have won the Bart Cummings. He was stiff, yeah, but Luna Flair, Francesco Guardi, before that behind High Emotion and Mohican Heights. So yes, he's won it before. He's no question mark over the 2 mile and the big occasion, but a little bit of a concern as to where he's at for me, and the wet track certainly against him.
I don't think he's going as well as he did when he won the Cup, and he was a huge run in the Caulfield Cup, but I don't think he can win.
Hildo thinks that's the plane from the Nile machine, Pat, so he's still going down the casino thing. He's a very, very funny man.
He's drunk on milk. What I can say, though...
Actually, hold on, just on a milk comment, we've got a live one in the comments here. Duke Creary, I'm loving it. If you back the favourite in a Melbourne Cup, you should get a nice bowl of milk and lick yourself clean. Meow, Stockman, baby, let's go. On you, Dukey boy. Back shin by din.
Yeah.
That was very
Who's that one? That was him.
Duke Creary. What a
Duke's
legend.
writing the next few bumper stickers.
Oh, I love him. I love him.
Get around him, boys. Get around him.
This horse has actually been mentioned quite a lot in the comments, interestingly enough. Young Werther, Pat, one of your favourites, Damien Lane, Danny O'Brien, Barrier 21, 40 to 1. Is this going to threaten these top chances, yes or no?
Mate, I don't think he's up to this. Mixes his form. He had the run of the race in the Turnbull on the speed. It was he ran a nice third there in what was a boat race, I reckon. So I think that's about as good as you're going to get with Young Werther. I know it ran a place in a derby and blah blah blah, but I don't think it's up to this, and I'm happy to leave it out.
He's got to be getting close to peak fitness now, 4th up, and that was 12 months between runs almost when he went 8th in the Caulfield Cup last year and 4th in that race, first up behind Macram. But yeah, he's sort of maybe a tier below these guys.
I think he's going okay. I think the Cox Plate form is always good in the Melbourne Cup. His run in the Turnbull was okay, the first sort of 3 around the corner with the first 3 home. So I think he's got a rough chance, and he'll be going in most of my multiples.
There you go. I'm quite interested in this horse, Who Ya Mau. Craig Williams, obviously fantastic form. Jumping from barrier 15, $14.60. It's had quite a bit of a nibble this price. Pat, have you got Who Ya Mau in your numbers?
Who Ya Mau?
Who Ya Mau?
The only good thing about this horse is its name. It is positive is trained by Gay. Gay's won a cup, fair enough, but she's had some very good runners in the cup, and it took her Fiorente to win it, and it was arguably a lot better horse than this horse. This horse also likes it dry. It's not in form. It's had a peak run that was an outlier. Leave me out. Just leave me out.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah, it was 150 to 1 in that Epsom Derby when it ran second to Desert Crown. Next start, it was beaten 2.5 in a Gordon Stakes there. Deauville Legend actually came second in that race, and there wasn't much separating the pair of them. And I'm pretty sure I read that Ryan Moore, who was on, on Huyamel that day, dropped the whip. So, you could argue that he probably should have finished closer to Deauville Legend. But in saying that, the 2 runs since, he was $1.30 favourite in a 4-horse field and then got beat out of sight in the English St. Ledger last start. So, Gay will be waiting another year.
It's a different world.
Gay's best chance is the other one. I think
What about, though, imagine if you put Ryan Moore on your horse.
Sorry, Mal.
It's like putting J-Mac on your horse and he drops the whip. Be like, I don't know. I can't.
No, tell us. What's the analogy you've got? Come on, this will be a beauty.
It'd be like Australia getting beaten by Greece in the bloody Rugby League World Cup.
We didn't look that hot this morning.
Or it'd be like Munster losing his shoe for the entire game. I don't know. Something like that.
Oh, is that just...
Yeah. I'm good at them.
You are good at these. Hey, I'm gonna breeze through a few. You tell me. I'm gonna say the horse. You say a yay or a nay or a stop.
Oh no, let's go.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, let's run.
Serpentine.
It'll run 3,200 metres, but not quick enough to figure in this race.
Nick.
It'll figure in the finish if it starts Monday afternoon.
Like yes or no?
Yeah, no, not for me.
Daquan Sweet Jr.
Mate, you've said that perfectly. Won an Adelaide Cup. I don't know that Adelaide Cup form is probably the best form going to Melbourne Cup, but it'll run 3,200 metres. Run third in the Sydney Cup as well. I am happy to leave it out. It is out of form, this prep.
Yeah, it'll beat Serpentine home.
Yeah, I don't think he can win.
Grand Promenade. Harry Coffey, 89-1.
I'd love it to go good for Harry Coffey because he's a legend, but it couldn't win last year in better form, when it was in better form, with less weight, so it won't figure this year.
Yep, that times 2.
I don't think he can win.
All right, let's breeze through some of these horses that don't have a hope. Arapaho.
So this will be his 15th start.
No, wait. Arapaho, Rachel King, very, very good friend of TLU. Bjorn Baker, the racing manager's in the comments, Luke Hilton, who does the weigh-in for us. Barrier 19, 67-1 on Paddy. Come on, give us your thoughts on Arapaho. Come on,
Sunday,
build them up.
2 days out for the Cup. I spoke to the racing manager for Bjorn Baker, who's an absolute legend of a guy. He waffles a bit, but...
loves his milk. He's a milk drinker.
I don't know if he actually... I don't know if he was all there today. But he told me that... Arapaho's 15th start this prep, and he said about 6 runs into the prep, he goes, I reckon we'll get the best out of it when it gets to its 15th start.
Right, okay, so it's primed.
For me, I think he's more of a reserve grade stayer, but from the racing manager at Bjorn Baker's stable, he said 15th up was what they've always planned to do throughout this preparation. And I don't know, this could be some
That's
sort
some
of
insight. That is
feat.
insight. And if that's what the racing managers say, this is an absolute masterclass from Bjorn and Luke Hilton.
And Bart always said 10,000 metres, and Bjorn this time has said 30,000 metres. Let's triple what Bart said, and it might make up for the ability that it lacks.
Nick, please, give us some hope on Arapaho.
I think if you want a fit horse that's going to stay the trip and handle the wet track with no weight on its back, Arapaho is your horse at that each way odds. My partner, she's backed it, so that's probably a better tip than what I can give you.
There you go.
She also had a litre of chocolate milk.
I've got Stockman on top, so I have to give him some chance. He chased home Stockman last start. He gets a 1.5 kilo swing on him. I think the draw's pretty bad for him, so he's going to need a good ride from Rachel, but a top 10 chance for mine.
DJC, Arapaho more runs than Don Bradman.
Yeah, if Arapaho wins the Cup, imagine the fields will be full with people trying to emulate the same preparation as Bjorn Baker has with it.
I hope this horse wins the race. I haven't got a cent on it right now, but purely because it would just be fantastic for Hilda and Rachel and Bjorn and all that lot. So,
and they're big supporters of Sydney-wide discounts too. So
yeah, they are. They love a white good. Guys should be advertising the mystery title. Did said, how can you take any of these with any confidence? Okay. Arapaho more runs than Don Bradman. Fingers it goes well. I think that means fingers crossed it goes well for connections.
Fingers it goes well.
Matty Rose like a Lunar Flare. What else we got? Duke Creary did my form and I actually have Serpentine winning race 9 if Boombeck can get me a price on that. Very, very good. Emissary Patrick Maloney for Michael Moroney out of the barrier 3, 36-1. Any thoughts on the British import?
Should be closer to Serpentine's odds. It was a nice win in the Geelong Cup's last start, but there were no world beaters there. No surefire was there, but it's honest, but it won't be in the finish here.
I think the horse is going really well. Wet track, a little bit of a question mark. 2 mile, maybe a slight question mark, but I've always loved the Geelong Cup form into a Melbourne Cup. We've seen, plenty of horses come out and do the double and run well on the first Tuesday, so he's a first half of the field chance for mine.
Yeah, I think he's a very good horse. I just don't think he gets conditions to suit. I think he's a real dry tracker and he's going to strike a wet track. If it was a dry track, I'd probably have him right in the mix.
Quite a bit of talk in the comments about a Lunar Flare. Michael D. flying. Barrier 12, $19.60 with the boom bet. Yay, nay, yes, no.
Well, very much like yourself, mate. It loves it wet. It was left flat-footed last start in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup, chasing Francesco Guardia. But then the start before had the better of him in the Bart Cummings. So I think it is primed for this race. She's a great lightweight hope and definitely one for the multiples here.
Pat wanted a bit of an outlandish comment at the start of the show, and I'm going to put it on this horse. I think she should be triple figures.
Oh, yeah. Just put that in the bin.
Give me shovel me. Do you still have the shovel noise?
I think we got the shovel somewhere. Where is it?
Yeah, I think Lunar Flare is a big... Oh! Jesus. Yeah, I think Lunar Flare is a massive, massive hope. Shovel me.
Nick's got the shovel. He's got the shovel.
Jeez, Nick, settle down.
BJ, thoughts?
I tend to agree with Pat. I probably would be tipping Francesco Guardi if he was in the race. So she chased him home very well. There was big margins in that field. I think she's going as well as ever, and I think she'll run a race. I don't think she's a winning chance, but I think she'll be. She's one for the multiples.
Michael D absolutely flying, and probably the most requested for you guys to pull apart is Smokin' Romans.
Oh,
Jamie
no.
Carr on for Mara and Eustace, Barrier 16, $16.60. Rip in, Pat.
$16.60. If you are taking those odds, you are drinking the same stuff as Hildo. It is no hope. It won't get the distance, unfortunately. That's my opinion. I can leave him out. Thank you.
This is a Caulfield Cup favourite at one point, this horse.
I was happy to leave him out of the Caulfield Cup numbers too.
Yeah, had its absolute birthday in the Turnbull when it won that race, and people saying going into the Caulfield Cup are, don't knock him because it's Smokin' Romans. Well, I'm going to knock him because it's Smokin' Romans. He couldn't win a Bendigo Cup 12 months ago. He's not winning a Melbourne Cup on Tuesday.
Yeah, won a boat race in that Turnbull.
Yeah,
Shock us, BJ.
I actually think he's a touch of overs, considering his SP profile. From the Caulfield Cup, he started favourite there. He didn't have the best of luck. I know he didn't really savage the line when he was clear, but I just think he's a touch of overs. Do I want to back him? Probably not. I don't think he's suited on a wet track, so I think there'll be a bit of money for him.
Was his SP profile definitely. Was his SP profile right though in the Caulfield Cup? Like he was a $21 winner in a Turnbull and then starts $3.90 in a Caulfield Cup, and now, was he unders in that Caulfield Cup?
Right or wrong, it just is because that's what price he started. So the market liked him. So
yeah,
usually the market gets it right, but it might have been wrong. But you can't sack him on that run.
You had to be crook in the head to be taking the $3.90 there. We had a bloke in our punters club take it. He is crook in the head.
Who was it?
Love you, Matthew Zammit. Love you, Zammit.
I'm going to breeze through the next few because we are kind of leaking a bit of time here. Stop me if you want to delve into it a little bit more. These runners are so inconsequential. BJ's left. Tralee Rose at $89.
Should be 1,000 to 1.
Nick?
Yep, agree.
BJ, yay or nay? Point Nepean, 59 to 1.
Form isn't up to being in this race.
will actually be my best result on the race, but that was before it won an Andrew Ramsden, and it has been legless this prep. So I've sort of half ripped the ticket up, but I haven't gone through the barcode just yet.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Sticky tape it back together.
You'll make it work. You'll make it work. Beach?
Yeah, he's not going well enough.
Okay. High emotion, 33-1.
He fell in a Bendigo Cup, and if you think of backing it, just back Luna Flair instead.
Yeah, if you were going to back any of them, you'd be backing Luna Flair out of that Bart Cummings, but no, not High Emotion.
BJ, yeah, I know.
I know.
Interpretation. Greg Newitt, 49-1.
2-1 pace, doesn't have the form to figure here.
Absolute myth of a horse should be 5,000s.
The market always likes him.
Yeah, I don't understand why. It's done absolutely nothing in 4 or 5 runs here, has it?
No.
Start $6 every time. Like, spare me.
I'd love Nick to be a bookie. He'd just be throwing him up at $1 million to 1.
Pretty much.
You've sparked Zamet's attention. What a stitch-up, Paddy. Duke Creary, BJ should be the next Matt Nable on Fox League. He just gets me fired up to back something with 3 legs. Very excited. Duke, message the page. I'm going to send you a merch pack because you've been on fire in the comments. And the last one, which is interestingly one that has been mentioned quite a few times, at currently $9.80 with Boombet, coming out of barrier 5, 24th horse in the field, Realm of Flowers, Damien Thornton on board.
Well, it's been beaten by Arapaho, so that's about where I have it. It would have to rain so heavy at Flemington for it to win that they would probably just call the race off and they wouldn't be allowed to run it. So, for me, it's no chance, and I can't believe it's $11. That's out of this world. I've got no idea how.
It's insane. $9.80, Pat.
$9.80. Far out.
$9.80. $9.80.
I think you'll get 20 to 1 on the day, minimum.
Yeah, it'll be a result if she wins. Not a winning result, but I was on her last year at 200 to 1, so it's hard to take anything around $10 this year.
Big. BJ.
Yeah, she goes in everything for me.
Yeah.
Really?
I've got her in my first 4.
She didn't have the best of luck in that Metrop. She covered extra ground. She was only 3rd up there. She can strip fitter for that. She's got a massive figure at Flemington over 2,800 metres. Big figure at Sandown over 3,200 metres. Handles are wet. I think she'll run a race for sure.
There we go. Okay. The most important part of the night, obviously, we've touched on a lot of things, a lot of horses, who you like. BJ, you've been coming straight out and telling us who you're liking. But, Paddy, who do you have on top for the 2022 Melbourne Cup? I
am launching into Gold Trip, and my 2 exotics are Vow and Declare and Montefilia.
The Monty. I had a feeling it would figure into your numbers somewhere. I don't know why.
It's a naughty horse, but I hope
it is a naughty horse.
I hope it's on its best behaviour in this Melbourne Cup.
Nick,
yeah,
on top, some value if you got it for us.
Yeah, haven't completely decided yet, but Gold Trip, Jewess, and Deauville Legend are the 3 best winning results for me. So they're the top 3 in no particular order.
BJ, you got anything for us? Or
I haven't landed on my numbers yet, but Stockman is going to be a big result.
Very good. Like I said, guys, throw up who you think's going to win the Melbourne Cup in the comments. If you're right, you'll go into the chance. We'll choose 3. 3. Some good comments coming through now. We'll choose 3 guys at random for a TLU merch pack. Enjoy Cup Day, gentlemen. Patrick, Nick, BJ, thank you so much. It's very late at night. Appreciate the commitment you got to the punters for this free live. This will go up as a potty. We've got another live video tomorrow night with a few of your favourites on there. And enjoy Cup Day, guys. Gamble responsibly. Enjoy the day. And good luck, punters. Hooroo.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Can I turn my fan back on now?
Yeah, go for it, mate. You're sweating up. Big fella's sweating up. All right, well done, guys.